This is part 2 of playing in Corel Painter Essentials 5, which I bought last week. And I'm playing in the Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. I've scanned it in, and it's the little bunny with the moon. Now, I haven't finished the moon, but I've found some other things to do. So I've found some real life leaves. And so I'm making this a little bit of a play with finding out what's on this particular software. I'm playing on my Oogie 1560. This is the 15-inch one. Love it. You can take it around with you. It's a really nice tablet. It behaves itself quite well, and it's basically mirroring what's on my laptop behind. So you need a laptop or a computer because you need the brains. So whatever's happening on here is going to be happening on here. It's basically a touch screen, but it allows you get 2 pens with it, and then a little pen stand with 8 spare nibs. And I watched hundreds of YouTube videos and did a lot of research because I really don't have a lot of pennies, and I really wanted something that I could use. And bearing in mind that I'm switching my traditional way of painting to digital, I really needed something that I could use a lot of the time. So this is going to probably stay on my desk, and I want I've seen the Wacom Intuos Pros and the small one, because I have a small laptop as well that I could take with me. It means I could still draw, but you can't draw because you can't see what you're drawing. It's not a screen. It's basically, it looks like a little pad, and you draw on the pad. So you draw on the pad, and it's happening in front of you, a little bit like a mouse pad, but you're drawing with a proper pen, so you've got a lot of control. And they're slightly cheaper. They're between £50 and £100. So again, I like the Oogie. I bought my daughter the Oogie EX07, I think it was, and she absolutely loves it. And she's doing animation and illustration at university, and she really loves that. And I bought it for a birthday, so I'll buy my other daughter one as well. But I'd really love a Wacom, but they're just a bit too pricey for me. And so I'm very impressed that we've got something here, because if this was a Wacom, it would be, I think this is the £800 one, and it's just a little bit out of my price range, is that. So I really like this. So I thought I would do, this is the first play of a page, but you can use it for traditional drawing as well, which I had a play as well. So there's another video about drawing Alfie, and I'm using oil paints for that, and I'm really enjoying that, getting some really good fine detail. And I didn't think I'd be able to do that because I used to paint with a dog hair, very fine work. So I'm a bit of a kind of a fidgety, fiddly little person. So I really like the idea that you can either do a detailed colouring in page, or you can do a very quick one. So this one's going to take about a couple of hours, and so it depends on what book it is. It depends on how you want to colour. And I like the idea that I did have different books that I worked differently in, and I worked with different mediums, but this, I like the fact that this is going to behave itself, and I can open it up and colour in, and I can print them off if I want. So I've selected fine camel paintbrush, and I'm not particularly blending, but I'm kind of enlarging it so I can get a little bit of colour in there. and then there's a little hand tool that you can tap. So this particular software is called Corel Painter Essentials 2, sorry, Essentials 5, and it's allowing me to colour. It's allowing me to colour, and it's because it's remembered the paintbrush I was using. Again, that's quite nice. It's remembered what I was doing, and you can set the desktops to turn up to be exactly as you want them to be. So if you, every time I went into this particular page, all the paintbrushes and all the settings will have saved for me, and that's really, really good. I really, really like that. I thought that was very good. And I never do backgrounds because they would take me so long, but this one I can tap my blue, I can tap the little bucket, and then I can tap here, and that's how I did the background. I think actually there's two strands there, but that's how I did the background. I think that might be brown, or is it? No, I think that's going to be blue, so I'll do that. And this particular tablet came with a free screen as well. So again, tight Yorkshire lass. It had everything I wanted. It had, and the screen protector is because you could actually draw on here, but it was like drawing on glass, and I wanted to keep it clean. And sometimes when you put them down, you get lots of dust. So I'm terrible. I just wipe that, and then I drop this down, and it's only stuck at the top. And I really like that idea because you can get all the bubbles out. So that was very, very clever, I thought. That was very clever. So they'd actually thought about quite a lot of things. And the biggest seller for me was the pen is very light and it doesn't have a battery. And there's 3 of these that I really want, and they'll be perfect, but they have a battery in the pen. And the other thing is the EX07 that I bought my daughter. No, not the EX07. I think it was. This pen works with that one because hers wasn't charged when I did the unboxing, and so I used my other Oogie little pen. But these do not have any batteries, so they are as light as a feather. They're probably as light as a pencil, but they've got a rubberized coating, so they sit in your hands. If you can't hold anything, you can just draw even though you can't hold anything. Very, very soft. Very easy to use, but the saddest thing is I wanted it because it looked like an ink pen, and I'm just a bit of a sad girl, so that was the selling point for me. But you never lose your pen because it's always in its pot. And Oogie actually give you 2 pens, so that was brilliant. So while you're charging one up, and I've actually drawn with it while I'm charging it, doesn't bother me. There's a wire, doesn't bother me in the slightest. The laptop is here, my laptop's there, and the charger can be, and I can be drawing. It's really not a problem. You have to have your laptop because that's the brains. So it doesn't bother me. But while one's charging, the other one can be sitting, you can be using. So really love that idea that they gave you 2. Oops. And you have 8 nibs as well. That was another big thing for me. So I've gone there with those greens. Have anyone got any questions? Oh yes, but Nadik says thank you and welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples, so I'm trying to read chat occasionally. So apologies, I've changed my headset. I'm not using the headset because I'm using a different laptop and it didn't like it. So I'm back on the camera. So if I move away, apologies because my voice is going to change. So sorry about that. It's just it was very tinny and it was getting on my nerves. And I do actually like to work like this, but you can change, and again, I love the fact that you can tap a button and then you can tap another button and you can swizzle your work around. Remember, it's got to be easy. So there is no reason for you to be doing this or this. You have a natural curve. And I know everybody says you've got to move your arm, but I can't move my shoulder, so I can just move little tiny movements with my chopstick fingers, as I call them, like when you're using chopsticks. Your bottom ones are fixed and your top ones. So I use 2 fingers for colouring in most of the time because my thumb's a little bit drastic. So you can use that, and you can even use it with your other hand as well. But you've got to have it in a comfortable position, because you won't go over the lines if you're in a comfortable. If you're doing this, you're likely to move and you go over the lines. If you're on a paper, turn the paper around. If you're on here, turn this round. It's literally the touch of a button. Oops, says she. Now, I do like the Art Rage because you can just turn it. On the Wacom, there's a little button actually on the tablet where you just turn and twist. This one you have a slider, so you've got to watch lots of YouTube to decide which one you like. Because I watched hundreds of videos to decide, could I like to use that one? Would I like to use that particular style? I have Art Rage, Corel Painter Essentials 5, Psy. There's a few others that I'm going to go through as well. Critter. There's quite a few others that I'm going to go through. There's probably about half a dozen that I'm going to be playing with in colour books, because some are easier to use in colour books for colouring than traditional art. So different software is going to work differently. Button Addict says that it puts it all at your fingertips, and it does. It's really good because you've got everything. So half an hour, not half an hour ago, what time are we now? About an hour ago, I was playing in, it's actually under here and I can't get to it. I was playing in exactly the same. I was playing using a different brush, using a different setting, but still doing the same thing, zooming in and out, moving it backwards and forwards, tapping it and moving it about, so it was easy for me to get to, zooming in, zooming out, and then at a touch of a button I can pick out a colour page, and I am now working in a colour page, and I'm working with something different. So again, really like that idea that I can be working in a colour book and then think, right, I want to do some art, or I can do all sorts of other things. And I'll be working my way through things as well. So there'll be mixed media. So I'll be scanning pages in and doing some mixed media. And also I have thousands of photographs. And so I thought I will do a digital, and I'm not sure if you can do this, but I presume you can. I will be doing a digital photo album and do some scrapbooking. So I'll have some really nice pages, and then I'll put a few photographs in it, and then you can either print some out or leave them in a book. So that's my other thought. Oh yes, that's another good idea. But Button Addict says she actually takes her colour pages out of the books so she can turn them. I used to photocopy mine because a single sheet of paper is quite easy to turn. And I'm terrible for damaging my spines of the books because I bend them back. So I've got a small space to turn and move them. But again, this is really good because all you have to do is this, and it turns. So basically, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're doing exactly the same thing. So I'm going to go back on there and pat. I'm going to tap that, and oops, and you see I have such a large brush. So now I have to go back to here and take my brush down to very small. I think I had it a little bit bigger than that, but not much more. And again, I do tend to work with a very fine brush. So I've still got the brush up here, the blender's oily wet blender, the brush, and I wonder why it won't work. I'm not sure why it won't work. I'm not sure why. What does it say? Reset tools. Alf is escaping, the little boy. So I had to do something last time with it and I forgot what I was doing. So we'll save that. Oopsie, apologies. Whoopsie. I'll have to stop the video, sorry.